Well, often during this time, I think I should be playing music or something like elevator musical.
Yeah, I know.
Yes,
I've been
yeah.
tempted to sing on many many occasions, and
Well, you
people
can
make
always
me
do
not do
that.
that.
You can always start off it, singing.
Okay, should we get started? So I will share my screen now, John, and crack on and then hand back over to you. Awesome. Can you see that? Fantastic. Let me start the recorder and there you go. This meeting is being recorded, everyone. Welcome to our Demystifying Roles in Tech with Accenture evening today. So I will be giving a very quick intro to Coding Black Females, and then I will hand over to the Accenture team. So very quickly, Coding Black Females is a community for Black women in tech. We have around 3,500 members, and we're looking at people who are entry level, but all the way through to leadership. So we have a range of activities, a range of opportunities, a range of things that you can get involved in, and a large growing community that will support your development as well. For those of you who don't know, this is the team. This is not all of the team because the team is constantly growing, but there are a lot of people around here to support what you're looking for, to drive you in the right direction, and to give you what you need from the community as well. So do get in contact, and if you're not on Slack, if you're not in the Slack community, you can drop me a message and I'll let you know how to connect so that you can connect with all the people, but also if you want to contact the team, they're available for you as well. A quick bit of housekeeping. Please could you mute when you're not speaking? I've said cameras on here, that's actually not relevant. You don't have to have them on, or you can have them on, it's up to you entirely. We do have closed captions available. So if you would like a transcript of the evening, there is a button at the bottom of the screen and you can get subtitles. They are automated as opposed to typed, but that information is there if you want it. We have some opportunities open at Coding Black Females at the moment, and these are some of them that are around if any of you are interested. So we have the Black Coder Bootcamp, which I believe is still taking applications. We have discounts and available licenses for Makers and JetBrains. We have a back to school drive that we're running. The applications will be closing soon, but you can go and find out how to support that as well, or apply if you're interested. And if you want to find out about any of the programs that we have coming up, if you go to register interest on our member zone, the Coding Black Females website, then we will let you know about any programs when they come up and when they're available. If you're looking for a new role, we have the Coding Black Females job board, which you'll find at jobs.codingblackfemales.com. And that's a great place to go in and find out who we're working with, the sort of companies that are available to work with, and the sort of roles that are open at the moment as well. One of my favorite things is the Visible in Tech campaign. And this is a great campaign to showcase Black women in tech in the Coding Black Females network. So that's again available on the website, and that's codingblackfemales.com/visible in tech. But what we do want is that you go along there and you share your stories as well. So we want to see who else is visible in tech. So share your story on the Visible in Tech part of the campaign that we have. Tonight we have the Accenture team here, and I'm going to hand over so they can do this fantastic session to demystify roles in tech. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Let me just share my screen. Give me 2 seconds. Yep. Tell me when you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see it.
Yes, you can. Let me see if I can get audio. Because I want to play this video first. Basically, it sets the trend of what this event is going to be about. Just making sure that I have. Yeah, fantastic.
Whose job is it to improve the world?
Yeah.
It can feel like it's inevitable that someone, somewhere, will invent the tech that helps us take the next step forward. But it's not. Technology has the power to improve the world, but it won't. Not without human intelligence, our ideas, our ideals. Technology can help us get there, but it won't show us where to go. That relies on bold ideas and the desire to build a better future. It won't come by asking the
Pause again.
same old questions. It isn't tweaking the same old answers. Building a better future can't rely on doing things the way they've always been done. That future can be built by anyone. Anyone ready to think differently. The ones willing to ask, why not? The ones who look, listen, and ask, why can't this be better? Why can't that be you? There's no set vision of the future, our future. It's going to be the one you live in. So who says you can't be part of making a better one? There's no one path to making a breakthrough, and there's no one person responsible. It might start with a thought, an idea, an invention, but there's no innovation without collaboration. It begins when different people bring different ideas and different perspectives together. We need new ways of looking at old challenges, fresh experience examining new problems. It's taking the tools that already exist and asking that one question to deliver results that have never been seen. No one is saying it's easy, but if you think it's not for you, ask yourself, who else can do what you can do? Your experience, your perspective, your ideas will unlock a version of the future. We won't make progress by staying still. We won't improve the world without creating something new. And we can't do that without you. Accenture.
We're not playing again. So demystifying roles in technology. Literally, that video encapsulates what this event is about. It's about showing that technology is like it's you who built it, who is gonna be the people what build the future, right? So saying that, we are Tag AACN in collaboration with Coding Black Females, who done their introduction already. We have two of the co-actors in the video, so Yutunde and Destiny, who are your co-hosts with me. And throughout this event, it's all about giving you insight into the skills and roles we have here at Accenture and hearing from experiences from people that are within our organization. Kicking off, mics on mute, please, just until the Q&A section where we will have opportunity to ask all the questions you have based off what you hear. For further ado, I will just give you an overview of the session. So on the agenda today is firstly who we are, so that is more in terms of Tag ACN, who Yutunde will speak about that. Accenture overview, which I will discuss, give you just a overview of who exactly is Accenture and what we do. We have In It and Killing It. We have one of our leaders here to discuss that. And then we have the panelist discussion, our scheme, then close. All right, matching faces to names. We have Yutunde, who will be doing who we are. You have Destiny, and you have myself with a nice trim. Yeah. Yutunde, can you take it away for who we are?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Sean, for the introduction. And yeah, it's a bit embarrassing. I was in that video. So yeah, hate seeing it, but yeah, it's a great video in terms of what it's showcasing. And as John rightly said, we're all about like ensuring that Accenture is one of the most diverse places as possible. And what I co-lead with the wonderful Insiken is the TAG African and Caribbean Network. TAG stands for the Technology Analysts Group, African and Caribbean Network. And I've had the privilege of co-leading this network for the past 2 years. And we work with a team of 11 analysts. And I tell you, it's been one of the most rewarding experiences ever. We use this network to really showcase Black excellence. We work very much with the wider community to help upskill, like whether it's young Black men, or work with organizations such as Coding Black Female to have knowledge exchange sessions like today. It's just important that we share our experiences internally and externally. What we do internally is very much encourage diversity within technology. We help provide sessions that look at the experiences of technology analysts that currently are in Accenture. We also use our network to showcase the importance of things that impact our community, such as mental health and experiences that happened over the summer as well. And as a network, we're always asking ourselves, how can things be better, as mentioned in the video? How can we make the experiences of analysts better? What can we do to support our network? And we're all about uplifting our network as well. And then in the next slide, I talk a little bit about our vision. And this is the vision that we've had since our inception. It's really to create a home for all Black employees within TAG, to develop our Black talent. And from developing our Black talent, that means providing training opportunities to our talent on a regular basis to ensure that we are always going to be upskilled and in demand as a network. We work to achieve, we do this so that our analysts that are in Accenture will work to their full potential. And what we love to do is educate the wider business on the Black experience. We don't shy away from sharing the experiences that us as Black people have within work. And it's important that we do educate the wider business on this so that they are informed. And as mentioned, how can we make things better? We're all about making it better within the wider business. Happy if you want to post any questions around TAG, but that's essentially what we do, who we are. I work with an incredible team, as mentioned. So John and Destiny have worked very incredibly tirelessly to create this event. And yeah, we're really happy to have you all on board today. So that's me. Thanks, John.
Fantastic. So I'm going to give you a brief overview of who Accenture are, because I guarantee a lot of people that joined this today may have heard of it, but may have heard of us, but may not have like a quite in-depth knowledge of what we do. So Accenture, lots of words in the scheme, I'm going to read it. So Accenture is a global professional service company leading capacity in digital, cloud, and security. So we combine unmatched experience and specialized skills across 40 different industries. We offer strategy, consultancy, interactive technology, and operation services, all powered by the world's largest network of advanced technology and intelligent operation centers. So I'll get into those four areas a little bit later in the slide, in the deck. We have our 569,000 people. When I joined back in 2014 as an intern, we had about 300,000. And then when I joined as a graduate, we had about 384,000, just to show you the scale at which we're growing. Deliver our promise on technology and human engineering every day, serving clients in more than 120 countries. Yeah, like I said, we embrace the power of change to create value and shared success for our clients and people, shareholders, partners, and communities. So like Yunde was saying, a community such as TAG ACN, we do events like this, prior to this, we done a parity event which focuses on young Black men. Yeah, so we have opportunity to do quite a lot of things. Accenture, I'll give you some stats. Accenture work with 91 of the global Fortune 100 companies, and more than 3/4 of the Fortune Global 500 companies. And out of our top clients, we've been working with them for more than 10 years. So out of 100 clients, 97 of them we've been working for more than 10 years, which is crazy. Giving them background on our business. So we do strategy consultancy. We work with clients to identify, design, and execute solutions that transform their business across people, processes, and technologies. So in basic terms, strategy and consultancy help transform the world's leading organizations working across the C-suite to enhance competitiveness, grow their profitability, and deliver sustainable stakeholder value. With Interactive, we leverage our platform skills, creativity, technology, services to create meaningful experiences that improve human lives. So Interactive helps lead our organization in designing, building, communicating, and running experiences across journeys for customers, employees, patients, and even people like our citizens. Technology, we work with clients to deliver business transformation using innovative technology services and deep industry experiences. So technology is where I sit. So technology provide cloud services, system integrations, integration, application management, security services, intelligence platform services, software engineering, infrastructure. Also, we lead in our R&D, so our lab work and our investment ventures in our ecosystem relationships. And operations, so we help organizations reinvent themselves with intelligent business operating models to drive value and growth. So what does operations do in short term, in less words? So operation runs businesses on clients' behalf. So this could be specifics such as finance, accounting, procurement, marketing, more specific such as banking or insurance or healthcare. This is like the breadth of the business, and you won't find many other companies that could combine all these services, all these capabilities, and scale it into in an industry context. Going on from that, our purpose to deliver on promise of technology and human ingenuity. So technology and human ingenuity go hand in hand when we bring our breadth of technology capabilities with our abilities of people's ingenuity. This delivers a more greater than the sum of parts. So in essence, we work great together. And if I was to give you my experience, Accenture is really all about its people. The people are what make this business. So the people I work with at TAG ACN, the people on this call, what are going to give you their experience, share their experiences with you. They're the people make working for this company so worthwhile and so fulfilling. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce to one of our leaders who is in it and killing it. So Rehema, just to give a brief overview, Rehema is a delivery technology delivery lead, at Accenture. She specializes in large complex business and IT transformation programs for consumer goods and manufacturing clients. She has over 13 years of experience working in technology across Europe and the UK. And I'm really looking forward to hearing her journey. Rahema, would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, I think you've already covered it, John, but yeah, hi everyone.
Yep.
So I'm here for the In It and Killing It segment of the session, just to give some context in terms of what I do. So when I joined Accenture, I think just to the stats that John, you were sharing, I think it was 360,000 people globally when I joined. So we've definitely increased as an organization. Day to day, I'm a delivery lead, and just to kind of give you an insight as to what that is, essentially when we work on our client projects, because we service a number of clients across all of our business areas, my role is often the kind of the team lead. So I'll often be the one to kind of define the plan, work with the client to shape what the project's going to look like. And then day to day, I'm accountable to the client to make sure the team is delivering on the contractual commitments that we've said that we're going to do, because everything that we do at Accenture is based on a contract or a statement of work. So as an example, my last major project that I did was working with Dyson. If everyone has a Dyson vacuum at home, well done. They're quite expensive, so not everyone can afford one. But I was working at Dyson, and essentially Dyson had decided that they wanted to upgrade their existing global IT system. So we were on the ground out in Swindon for 18 months, day to day working with the client. And essentially we took their existing IT system, took it offline, put in the new IT system, and made sure everything was running across all their 28 countries all at the same time. So we did it big bang, as in everybody goes at the same time. And effectively we follow the sun. So we start sort of Far East in terms of Australia, New Zealand, etc., work our way around the globe until we come back to Europe. So it was a big deployment, it was a big project, but that's just to kind of give you a sense of some of the things that I do day to day. John, do you want to go to the next slide? So when the TAG ACN guys approached me to kind of be part of this event, they asked me to obviously talk about being in technology and how I'm killing it. So what I want to do is just spend some time talking through my career journey. So this slide is basically representing my career journey. And I'll sort of share some stories about my experiences of working in technology, and hopefully you'll get a little sense of what that's been like for me. Doesn't necessarily mean it'll be the same experience you'll have, but hopefully there'll be something that you'll take away from what I share. So if I kind of start at the beginning, I went to university in London. I studied politics and international development at the School of Orient and African Studies. My ambitions at the time were to go and work with something like the World Bank or the UN or the IMF, and take what I'd learned in terms of how can we help poorer countries, developing countries, have better economies, better standards of living, and how can we then effectively help them to catch up with the West, because the West is obviously the kind of the parameter and the barometer that measures this. So after my degree, I spent 7 months in Thailand, working for a local non-governmental organization based in Bangkok. And whilst I was there, I had an opportunity to travel around the region. So I went to Laos, I went to Cambodia, and the work itself was quite challenging. The organization I was working with was supporting children and families affected by HIV and AIDS. So we would sort of spend time educating families about how to stay safe, particularly, for example, breastfeeding mothers. There is some element of being able to transmit your HIV virus to your baby if you're breastfeeding. So we'd spend time educating them. We worked a lot with sex workers because Thailand has got a big sex tourism industry. So we worked a lot with sex workers to just educate them on being safe, and also worked with injecting drug users. So people who regularly use drugs, again, sharing needles. There's always an opportunity to transmit HIV that way. So I did that for 7 months. And then I came back to the UK and spent some time working for the Department for International Development, which is one of the government departments. And at the time, we partnered with Bill and Melinda Gates and their foundation to basically draft a paper, a policy paper around how do we, the West, strengthen health systems in developing countries. So my role in that particular piece of work was to write effectively a chapter on how we could strengthen health systems when there's civil war, particularly in Africa. Often when there's civil war, everything kind of falls apart and people don't have access to healthcare. So I wrote a piece around fragile states, when they're war-torn, how do you provision healthcare, and how do we get all the agencies globally to sort of come together provide the funding, provide the infrastructure to ensure whenever there's conflict, people still have access to healthcare. And that was great because everything that I'd studied at university in terms of international development, I was now sort of doing on the day job. I was a policy analyst, so I was writing questions and responses and sending them through to number 10. One of my questions actually got read out word for word by Gordon Brown. We drafted the response and he took it and read it. It's somewhere on probably YouTube or the Parliament channel. But then I started to find myself being disillusioned a little bit because I felt like I'd been in Thailand and seen people dying of HIV and AIDS, and these guys in Westminster were writing papers, and papers were not going to change lives. We needed tangible things to happen. So at the same time, we had a general election. So the existing, I guess, civil servants in the department left and the new cohort came in. And I was on a fixed term contract. So my job ended and I had 2 weeks to find a new role. So through different conversations, networking, I landed a gig at the Department for Health. I don't know if anybody on the call will remember this, but at the time there'd been a doctor called Harold Shipman who had basically been killing off some of his patients and it wasn't being recorded. No one knew about it. So my role was to manage effectively deploying an IT platform to ensure that GPs and their practice team, so your local GP practice team, were completing accreditation on a regular basis and submitting reporting and all that kind of stuff so that the Harold Shipman incident wouldn't happen again. So I did that gig for about 3 years. And it was really challenging because I'd never worked in technology before. I'd never managed a project. And working with the Department for Health, which is a big entity in the UK government. So I learned a lot through that project. It was quite challenging. Didn't really get on with my boss at the time. So personality clashes as well. But that aside, it was a good experience. And then the manager that I was clashing with, she eventually left. So I got promoted, which was brilliant. And I just felt a real sense of achievement despite the challenges of the project. I'd finally sort of had that recognition of the value I was bringing to the team. Then my contract ended there, so sort of went back down into the dumps a little bit, and I sort of felt even more lost because I didn't know what I wanted to do next. So I kind of knew I enjoyed IT. I still had a passion for international development, but I just didn't know where I wanted to go. So I went on holiday to visit my sister in the US, and during the course of being out there, I got a contact through LinkedIn who basically said, "Hey, we've seen your CV. Can we have a chat?" And having come from public sector, I thought there's no way this big corporation called British Gas would want to hire me. But they did. I got the job. And essentially, I spent a couple of years working at British Gas, doing lots of different IT projects. I was fully deep in IT at this point. And I think one of the key things that was an opportunity, but also something I'm quite proud of, was at the time, British Gas were thinking about how can you sell electricity and gas in a different way, because obviously everyone just pays their bills. So we worked with the marketing team to come up with lots of different products and services. And one of them at the time was called Remote Heating Control, which is now Hive. And essentially it allows you to control your boiler and your heating and your whole home using an app that's been developed by Hive. And during the course of doing that project, we won a recognition from Stuff magazine, who felt that the technology was really innovative and was sort of futuristic in terms of the thinking. So that's now been extended. At the time, it was just an internal thing. British Gas then decided to spin off Hive into its own business. So it stands alone as a business and effectively competes with the likes of Google's Nest. So that was a really high point. Challenging environment because I'd never worked in SAP. That was my first time working in SAP. And I was sort of surrounded by a lot of people who were very knowledgeable and very experienced, but I kind of stuck it out and I thought, I'll get through this and kind of learn and understand some of the technology. Then there was a period at British Gas where we went through a massive reorg. And as a result of that, my job was tagged as redundant. So I got made redundant. And again, I was sort of back feeling a little bit sorry for myself and thinking, what do I do next? So in the course of sort of applying for jobs, and there's a theme here around LinkedIn, again on LinkedIn, a recruiter approached me and said, I'm looking to staff a role at Mars. Can we have a chat? I'd never really heard of Mars apart from obviously buying Snickers bars. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll get lots of free chocolate. So I went for the interview. It was quite a rigorous interview process, sort of 3 rounds of interviews. And it's a bit like The Apprentice, but live, in the sense that if you weren't there by lunchtime, you weren't in the running. And so until about 4 o'clock, we were sort of the last 3 candidates. And then they said they'd finalize and let us know. So I spent about 18 months working at Mars, and it was brilliant. I got to eat chocolate every day. In the first 3 months, it was exciting. And then I kind of got over it and I thought, I'm done with chocolate. I spent a lot of time traveling around Europe because Mars is a very global company, but obviously I was based in Europe. So a lot of my project and project work was across Belgium, the Netherlands, but my team was based in Strasbourg in terms of my manager. So he was based in France. So I got to travel a lot around Europe, and it was really exciting. I got to know Heathrow Terminal 5 very well because I was in and out of that airport every week. And I had the opportunity to work on the Uncle Ben's and Dolmio products. So Mars, as you know, has chocolate kind of food and beverages, and then they also do pet food. So I spent some time working in factories across Belgium and the Netherlands, kind of deploying SAP solutions to these factory sites and living out of a suitcase. But after doing that for a while, I just thought, I've had enough of this. I want to be at home. I'm tired of living in hotels, eating hotel foods and living out of a suitcase. So I was in the process of trying to sort of think about what to do next. And then I had a really challenging episode at Mars. My manager, who was French, just decided for whatever reason that I wasn't going to be part of his team. So there was a little bit of a campaign to push me out. And it was a challenging time just because of the element of me being Black and him being white. And I'm not necessarily ascribing that was the sole reason, but it was just a really tough time, to the point that I ended up having to get counseling and just kind of get myself together, because I thought, this can't be happening. This doesn't happen. But as a result of that, I resigned. And in some ways I was quite glad, because as I said, I'd been tired of the travel, but I reached a critical decision point and I thought, what am I going to do next? Do I stick with IT? Do I stick with kind of living out of a suitcase, or do I sort of get a regular 9 to 5 and just be London based? Again, a recruiter approached me through LinkedIn and said, hi, I've got a role at Accenture. I think you'd be a good fit. Let's have a chat. So I joined Accenture March 2015, and that's really when my IT career took off in a kind of big and explosive way. I'd asked not to travel. So they said, yeah, we don't travel. You'd be London based. But when I joined Accenture, my first project was out in Coventry at Jaguar Land Rover. So I was up and down on the trains every week for that project. But to kind of bring it home in terms of being in it and killing it, based on the brief that the guys had asked me to talk about, in my time at Accenture, I've had the opportunity, to John's point, I've worked with amazing people. And what makes Accenture is the people that you work with. It's the teams that you turn up with to do the jobs that the clients have asked us to do. But also it's the opportunity to do certain type of projects. So you probably won't be able to see the picture very clearly, but one of my kind of most interesting, challenging and fun projects was working for a company called BAE Systems. They manufacture military weaponry. And when I was working for them, we were basically upgrading their IT systems for their manufacturing of the F-35, which is a fighter jet. So it's quite exciting to be on site and see, Typhoons taking off. We got an opportunity to have a preview of the Farnham Air Show before the guys went to do it. But I think the challenge for me was, as a woman, as a Black woman, on day one, when I turned up to meet the client and start the project, this very older English man sort of, ushered me into his office. I introduced myself. And his first question was, what do you know about IT and my business? And I said, well, I work at Accenture. I've been doing this for a while. I'm here to help. And he said, you will not succeed, and I'll make sure that you don't succeed. And you will never be able to deliver this project. And I'll blame you, not the team. I'll blame you. So he was antagonistic from day one, refused to learn to pronounce my name. And I spent 18 months there just kind of trying not to let it get to me, but obviously deliver the project. And we did a good piece of work. In terms of opportunities to excel and kind of thrive at Accenture, I think for me, that would be my passion around young talent. So I spend a lot of time with our graduate joiners, particularly when they first come into the organization. We normally spend about 2 weeks training the graduates on how to work at Accenture and how we deliver projects, etc. And for me, that's always very fulfilling, because you take somebody who is at the beginning of the first week scared about the fact that they're here at Accenture and they won't be able to do it. And then by the end of the second week, they're fully fledged, ready to go and really excited to start on a project. So that's one of the things I really enjoy, the coaching and mentoring young talent, but also being part of our inclusion and diversity team. So I'm the ethnicity lead for Accenture UK and Ireland within technology, which is one of our businesses. And my role is to work with our senior leadership team, so all our managing directors, to basically influence and shape some of the strategies and approaches that they take to build a more inclusive Accenture, particularly in the UK. And it's been really rewarding. I've had opportunities to meet, she's now left, but the lady who was running Accenture Technology, a lady called Zara Barhalumi, she's now the CEO at Salesforce in UK and Ireland. And it was just amazing to sit down with her leadership team and just talk quite frankly about the Black experience and what it's like for us working at Accenture, living in the UK, and the experiences we've had, and how they, Accenture as an organization, can help make it better for other Black people or for existing Black people in the company. So for me, that's been really, really rewarding. The other aspect that's been really great is just the clients, the projects I work on. As I said, I started off at Jaguar Land Rover. I then went on and worked at Unilever. I worked at Dyson. I've worked a little bit at Dixon's. Just trying to think. I worked at BAE Systems. So no day is ever the same. No project is ever the same. And you effectively, with each new project, you're starting a new role and meeting a new set of people and being in a new environment before COVID when we could travel. So if I had to sort of summarize what's good about being in tech, is it's constantly changing. So you're constantly growing and you're constantly learning. The other aspect is the people that you work with. As I said, we've got a great community at Accenture in terms of all the employees, and particularly around the African Caribbean network as well. And just the opportunities to get involved in so many different things. Internally, we have a thing called Side of Desk, which is effectively the voluntary stuff you do that it's not paid, but you do it because you're passionate about it. And for me, I've been able to do things like Accenture Decoded and the Tech Taster events, which basically we bring in school leavers, 16 plus. They spend a week or a day with us, and we kind of mock up a day in the life of being an Accenture consultant. And they get an opportunity to see firsthand what that's like. And then if they choose so, they can then come and join us either as apprentices, as interns, or as graduates or experienced hires if they're coming straight from industry. So the one thing I'll say is that Accenture is just full of variety. You'll never be bored, and the tech is always changing, is always moving forward. And so you're always learning and growing, because you're going to have to keep a pace with what's happening, not just within Accenture, but outside in terms of technology. So yeah, I think if you feel inclined to definitely take up a career in technology.
Fantastic. I have so many questions for you, but I'll wait until the Q&A section to ask them, especially about when you're working in the Department of Development, International Development, and stuff like that. But your journey has been really, really, really amazing. All right. Now, if I click on to the next slide and it comes up, hopefully. Now I'm briefly just going to show a video. So Rahema mentioned side of desk stuff, right? We have, so this is, I work with the tag AACN, but we have a wider AACN who often do accelerate days and majorly good events during Black History Month, so October. So during Black History Month, they were able to create 6 videos on the theme of Black is, and I feel the one I'm about to play now does typify and it does speak to the element of maybe being the only Black person in the room or having that experience, and it's from Delight. So let me know if you can hear it first, but yeah, playing that before. Yeah.
I was completely unaware of the fact that I was Black until I got to university. Yes, that may sound naive, but let me take you back to the beginning, Nigeria, my home. I'm the confused looking baby, and I think my expression is justified. I mean, why was I dressed so warmly when the average temperature is 27 degrees? Regardless of my cute but unsuitable outfit, I would give anything to go back to this time and be ignorant of the world I had been born into. At home, being Black doesn't really mean anything because we are all Black. I was never made to feel like I didn't belong. All of this changed though when I came to the UK to study. Remember how I said I wasn't aware that I was Black? It wasn't that I couldn't differentiate between Black people and other races. I could, and I was proudly Nigerian. It's more that I was unaware of what being Black meant to the rest of the world. I also had no idea that it meant more often than not, I would be the only Black person in the room. I was a minority for the first time in my entire life, and to say it was uncomfortable would be to put it lightly. It was the first time I ever thought, maybe I'm not meant to be here. That didn't last long though, because my default reaction to fear is to fight and overcome. In the last 10 years, I have had a lot of ups and downs. I've had to rediscover my voice, ignore everything that could hinder me, and focus on the main goal, which is succeeding. Not because I have something to prove, no, but simply because I was born with the spirit of excellence, and I refuse to let anyone dictate what I can and can't do. I'm willing to bet that none of you have had the exact same experiences, so why would you judge someone based on their skin color? Different experiences make different people. I challenge you to be aware of this. I promise you'll be surprised at what you find. For me, being Black in this country is to understand that assumptions and labels have been attached to me because of what I appear to be. At work, being a Black woman is to acknowledge that there may not be a lot of people in the room who look like me, but knowing I have the power to change that. Black is excellence. Black is to overcome. Black is a complex identity.
Yeah, so that was Black is a complex identity from the light. I think it is only right that we play again. Only right we go into our Q&A section now, where Destiny, you will introduce or get everyone to introduce themselves, and this is a section where we can ask some questions.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, John. So, hi everyone, I'm Destiny. Just a quick introduction of myself. I'm a business and technology associate, and I'm also on the TAG AACN team, as previously mentioned. And now's the fun part where you can pop all of your questions that you have for our panel members into the chat, which is in the bottom panel of your screen. It should be towards the middle. Just for ease of communication, I'll read any questions that you have out to the panel, and yeah, just ask away. So just to break the ice, if we could go from left to right on the screen. So Donna, if you could please give us a brief introduction on yourself and your job role.
Sure, thanks Destiny. Hi everyone, my name's Donna and I work within our graduate recruitment team. So I recruit for our technology and security based roles into some people that have recently finished university or want to start a graduate program.
Hi everyone, I'm Ewa. I am currently an analyst in Accenture. I joined March 2020, so just almost a year and a half now. I am currently working as an agile developer in the same project as Zainab actually. And I'm currently working as an agile developer working across middleware and the backend, or what you call the core. Really happy to be here, and I really thankful for your story, Rahima. I found it quite inspiring. Yeah.
Cool, thank you. I'm probably going to skip me, Destiny, just because I've done the introductions already, so you can go on to Simone.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, no worries. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Hi everyone, my name is Simone Bryan. I am a manager within technology, so the technology business area within Accenture. I have been in Accenture for or 14 and a half years, so it's been quite a long time. Yeah, I started not long after I graduated from university, as an associate, as a graduate, and yeah, really enjoyed my career. I was one of those classic, I'm going to join Accenture, stay for a couple of years and move on. And 14 and a half years later, still here. So it's just testament to the kind of company it is, right? That has kept me here. Yeah, I kind of do similar roles to what Emma talked about, actually. So I'm generally do delivery lead or project management type roles across various industries. I've probably worked across all of the industries, actually, that Accenture support, such variety of clients that I've worked with. So yeah, had a really enjoyable time. As Emma said, every time you kind of start a new project, it feels like you're starting a new job. So you're always learning, always being challenged. So yeah, it's really fulfilling. So yeah, love it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Zainab. I'm currently a senior analyst within technology. And again, on the same project with Ewa, I'm working as a DevOps engineer. And previously, I've had a plethora of different role experiences in project and program delivery, working as technical analyst and doing data visualization, API development. And I'm very happy to be on this panel with such amazing people. So thank you for having me and look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you so much to all our panelists. And that brings me on to my next question, which is, did you always want to be in technology? So if we could go again from Donna.
Well, I can take this from a different viewpoint. So even though I don't work directly within technology, I'm a technology recruiter. And before coming to Accenture, I didn't actually have a clue about half of the things that I actually recruit for now. So it's something that, yeah, I know I deal with technology every day, but coming into the business and learn about all the different things that Accenture has actually helped with. So for example, you know, the Oyster card that we use, well, actually not so much now, but what we used so often, that, you know, Accenture was part of the development of that. And, you know, in terms of like when you go to Argos store and no more catalogs, you know, you're now using apps or you're using the iPads, what a part Accenture had to play in that. So for me, it's really interesting to find out the way in which we have an impact in technology. So not necessarily something that I always wanted to work in, but once I came into the company, it's definitely an area that I'm more aware of and want to learn more about.
I think for me, no, as well. I remember I went to an all-girls secondary school, so taking it a little bit back, and they were quite big and quite good in letting us know about the roles and the opportunities within technology. But together with that conversation would come the shocking facts of how many women are there. And I always knew that working in tech would be quite challenging, and I thought I don't want to join as well and have no mates. So from university, I kind of didn't want to look into joining technology, so I went in and did maths and chemistry, which probably in hindsight is probably equally as shocking in terms of the stats. And then after my second year of uni, I did chemical engineering. I was getting ready for a life of hard hats and high vis, because that's what chemical engineers do. I did one of the Bright Network days, so the Women in Tech, and a manager from Accenture actually came and spoke. And the passion with which she spoke about her career in Accenture, I thought, yeah, chemical engineering isn't going to give me this. So I want a bit of what she might be currently experiencing. So the next summer after, I applied for Accenture duties. I'm not sure they do them now, this Tech Visionary Days. And by luck, they were running one summer, and I applied. Thankfully got in. And within there, we looked at blockchain, and it was the summer where Australia, I think, were having the issue with strawberries being contaminated with needles. And one of the options in solving that was using blockchain. And I had only heard about blockchain through the Bitcoin and mining. And I just thought, this is something that we all talk about. And this is something that is so relevant to what we do now. Imagine if your entire role and what you do is something that you can walk outside, like Donna said about the Oyster cards, and be like, oh, I know where this comes from. And that just, And from then I was sold, and I got an offer for the software engineering program as well, and then joined in March 2020. So for me, not always, definitely didn't always want to start off in technology, but I think the people like that I've met and the people that I've spoken to, and also just looking at LinkedIn posts, they go a long way with me. I just really made me realize that like, technology is probably the best place for me as someone who likes to learn, someone who likes to problem solve, someone who likes to look at a problem and be like, how can we solve this? So yeah, didn't start out to be like that, but my journey and the people I've spoken to have really sold it for me, and I'm enjoying it so far. Yeah.
I'm going to be brief because I think I talked a lot about this in my story, but one thing I will add is that there's a lot of people in Accenture, particularly in the UK, who don't have degrees in anything technical, and they've just worked in other areas on other industries. As I said, I came in having studied politics. I think a lot of people on this call will probably attest to that. Most of the people we work with are not the kind of pure geeky engineers. So don't feel like if you come into Accenture without a technical subject, you won't be able to do the work that we do or survive, so to speak. I think we welcome everybody from all backgrounds. I think Donna, you could attest to that. And yeah, you're not restricted to having a technical degree to work in technology.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was going to say similar actually. I think for me, actually, probably my answer to this is also probably no. I always kind of describe my career journey as I kind of fell into technology and I fell into IT. It was one of those kind of classic at school, and you have to choose your A levels, you have to choose what university you're going to go to, what you're going to study. And to be honest, at the time, being an 18-year-old, just really based it on my grades. It was like, what have I got the highest grades in? Okay, let's do A levels in that. And then it was kind of, well, I'm doing pretty well. I've been studying, I'm doing pretty well at IT. So I knew I wanted to kind of go into technology, but I didn't want to do the classic kind of business studies or computer science that everyone seemed to be doing. And then when I was looking for my degree, I found out about software engineering, which at the time it didn't mean much to me. But when I kind of researched and understood it was about software and programming tools, and I was like, oh, this sounds really interesting. So it was more curiosity. So I studied software engineering at Kingston University. And did really well at it. And I thought, oh, maybe this is a thing, right? And I actually did a placement with a company called Logica CMG, which is now CGI. So I had experience then of what it was like to work with a consultancy, which I really enjoyed, really loved. So I actually went back as a graduate with them after I graduated from university, and was there for about 6 months. And then I actually had a uni friend who was working with Accenture and referred me in and said, look, come across. And I was like, no way. There's no way that Accenture would take a person like me. Like, you need like super intelligent people to work for Accenture. He was like, no, you'll get in, you'll be fine. And so when I actually got offered a position at Accenture, I was totally shocked, pretty impressed with myself. And yeah, I think my first project, funnily enough, was with Virgin Media. It was in the sticks in Reading somewhere, some random village. So it was kind of bizarre being from like London suburbia to be in a random town in Reading by myself. And it was just, I think it just resonated that this is a company that I know, I see them in people's homes and I can relate to the work that I'm doing. So I did that for a couple of weeks. And then my first kind of main role was working with Thomas Cook. Rest in peace, Thomas Cook. But yeah, Thomas Cook, and we were redesigning their website, and that I think changed the game probably for me in terms of actually what technology really means, and being involved in something so tangible, so hands-on, that I could say, oh, when you book your holiday with Thomas Cook, that's the site that I've designed, I've tested, I've done the designs for, that button there was literally my decision. When it kind of became more tangible for me, that's when I started to get the joy from it. And I could explain to my parents, rather than like, what is this Java thing you're talking about? I could actually say, like, that Thomas Cook website is what I'm designing, and people actually understand and are impressed by it. That's then what kind of gave me the fulfillment. And as I say, since then, I've kind of had so much experience in various types of clients. I've just found the joy of technology and how it's always evolving, right? There's always something new to learn. Every day is different. Every client is different. The technology they use in the different ways. So I just find it so varied. I don't get bored. yeah, I find it really, really interesting. So yeah, definitely didn't start off wanting to be in technology, but yeah, quite happy that I made that decision.
I think just what my point of view will echo everyone on the panel. I didn't really even know what technology meant. Even having a dad who kind of worked in infrastructure and an uncle who was a software engineer, I kind of just thought, that doesn't sound like something that I probably am able to do. And it wasn't until while studying massive physics at uni that I kind of wanted to work in an industry or have the kind of job where doing maths, solving like interesting problems and working through having that challenge is something that I enjoy, as well as with physics, like learning about how things work, getting your head around it, but then applying it to make impact. But then also having the ability to have to work with people, be social, like understand what a business or a client needs. And that kind of collaborative teamwork aspect. When I was in my third year and I was trying to understand what kind of career paths made sense or were possible for me, it just came to my attention that working in technology is collaborative. You're solving problems, you're having to be innovative, but still can be very technical and not necessarily technical. And it just seemed like the perfect place to understand, find out what I like and discover and try so many different things. And that was what drew to me. I think if you're someone who you're not exactly sure what you want to do, but you're someone who can learn fast and you want to be challenged and you want to be in an industry that's very cutting edge and I think really changing the face of the world we live in, like technology is everywhere. It just kind of made sense and clicked and I kind of went with the flow, applied and don't see myself in terms of like a corporate space. I don't see myself working anywhere apart from technology, and I'm just so happy that I didn't stress too much and just went for it. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to quickly move on to some questions in the chat box. So with these ones, if someone could answer, you don't have to all go down the line, but if you think you're best fit to answer the question, please do. So starting with, what has been your most challenging moment at Accenture? Anyone can touch on that? No?
I'm happy to share on that one. So I came and said I didn't know much about technology before joining. So I think my most challenging thing was being easy on myself. As we say here, in terms of working at Accenture, there's so many people. It's not just about, when we say it's about the people, it's actually a true thing. The amount of people that are willing to have conversations with you, coffee chats. One thing I learned about people that work, especially in technology, they like to talk about what they do. So you put in 30 minutes just to find out more about a project that they're working on. They're more than happy to wax lyrical and tell you all about it to give you more of an understanding. So I think for me, I just had to go easy on myself and understand that I wasn't going to know everything as soon as I started from day one. It was going to give me, I was going to need to give myself time and be kind to myself to learn more. So I say that was the most difficult thing, of adjusting to not knowing everything compared to where I'd come from, where I felt like I was the expert of everything, to come into a whole new world of, yes, I'm great at recruitment, but all technology is a bit scary. So it's just being easy of myself to actually know that it's okay to ask questions. So yeah, that's what I would say for that one.
Thank you so much. And on to the next question. To program/project product managers, or those of you who have done that type of role in the past, what do you enjoy most about your role, and do you have a career highlight to date?
Cool question.
It's probably you and I, Simone, isn't it?
Yeah. I think for me, what do I enjoy most about that type of role? I think for me, it's at least more recently, the kind of ownership and accountability. So the level of clients that I am exposed to. So, being able to engage with quite senior clients, understand the problems, understand the challenges they're facing, what are the pain points they have, and then being able to shape the scope of a project and put a plan together in place and have kind of mobilize a team to be able to then meet that and provide a solution or an outcome for them, and then see their kind of response and kind of partnership and collaborate with them in delivering that. I think that to me is the part that I enjoy the most. And again, just working with really strong, intelligent people. Like Accenture's people are amazing, right? They're pretty high caliber people, and you don't really understand that actually until you work with people who are not from Accenture, and then you get the beauty of, yeah, we are really good, strong people. So yeah, I think it's just working with amazing people, collaborating with great clients to deliver solutions and projects. My career highlights, probably aspects of the travel actually. So a lot of my previous roles was based at Shell. So I was working with Shell for about 5 to 6 years, kind of 2 separate stints, but about 6 years in total. And we were delivering a global site systems program. So all of the payments terminals effectively and the loyalty programs that you use at Shell stations to pay for your fuel globally. They wanted to roll out one single platform for that because every single country, and even within countries, had different technology solutions, and it was obviously a nightmare to manage and control. So I was looking after that for Germany, did that for a period of time, for Malaysia, Philippines, and Singapore. So I got to travel to Malaysia, traveled to India quite a lot, and traveled to Germany a hell of a lot over the couple of years that I worked there. And that's probably my highlight, just actually been able to work with Accenture people in different nations, because I didn't really appreciate cultural differences when it came to managing projects, managing delivery, managing clients, and actually going to those locations and working with the teams that I was on calls with, but seeing them in person and learning who they are as people, I found really special and quite amazing, kind of changed me actually as a manager in terms of how I deal with people and understand cultural differences, and don't necessarily make assumptions about certain things or certain behaviours. So that's probably my highlight for me. Yeah, I've been really fortunate in that respect.
Thank you so much. On to the next question. For your interviews, did you find that having a portfolio helped or helps, if any of you used that? Did anyone use a portfolio?
I feel like I was going to say that sounds more like I wonder if the person asking the question is interested in kind of being a product designer, like a product designer, UI, UX. And so that kind of clarification would be maybe make it easier to answer the question. But I think when it comes generally to interview, what's important is maybe, yes, you have portfolios. That's always a good thing to have projects that you've worked on. But the key thing will be to be able to talk about what you've done in a way that showcases all the stuff that you are responsible for, and the impact that you made. What kind of decisions did you raise and opinions you raised that steered the direction that something went in, whether it's a design piece, whether it's building an app. I think a portfolio, at least for Accenture in my experience, and I'm not going to talk for everyone because it might be different, but it's more, I guess, speaking and positioning yourself in a way that showcases all that you've done as opposed to just showing it. I wouldn't worry too much, but if anyone wants to kind of...
Yeah, I mean,
I can add into that one as well. Oh, Rahema, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, I work quite closely with Donna. I do a lot of the interviews for our graduates and some of our experienced hires. And I think, yes, you can have a portfolio, but your portfolio is effectively your experience and your knowledge in that area in terms of the job that you're applying for. So we don't necessarily expect you to come with like a file of stuff that you've done or web links. You can put that in your application form. But really, when I'm interviewing potential graduates to join Accenture, I'm looking at the person as a whole. I'm thinking about their skills, their experiences, the ability to be able to adapt, because everything changes in Accenture constantly. And so you have to be quite flexible, you have to be adaptable. And sometimes you're going to be put way, way out your depth. I've had many experiences where I've turned up on a project day one and I'm suddenly the test expert when I've never done testing. And those kind of things will stretch you and challenge you. So we're looking to see how adaptable are you? Are you somebody who will be resilient in that type of environment? But also, what technical skills are you bringing, whether it's from your degree, from your other jobs that you worked in previously in other organizations, and how can you help us deliver the commitments and the work that we do for our clients? So we don't look at just one aspect, it's holistic. And yeah, Don, I don't know if you want to add to from a recruitment perspective, what you guys prescribe.
I think all those points are definitely valid. I really want to pick out what you said about potential, especially for those of you. I think there's a few questions around career changes as well, because you may not necessarily always have a body of work behind you, but if you can show your potential, that you are able to come in and learn, that you have that passion. Yes, it can be great that you're able to share a few links to maybe a website, a friend's website you helped to build, or a link to an app that you developed, things like that. It's always great to see, but behind that, we really want to see the whole thing of a case of, okay, you're passionate, interest in technology, what has your journey been so far, but also how can we help you along that journey, because we're looking at your potential. We don't want the finished product, because then you're going to experience higher. As a graduate, you're coming as someone that still needs to be nurtured and developed, and also bringing your new and your own original ideas as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. On to the next question. I think the first part of this question has been answered in terms of coming into Accenture with experience, how much do you need? But on the second part, how easy is it to move between different technology roles if you would like to explore other areas?
Simone, do you want to take that one, given that you've probably been around the longest?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I can. So for me personally, and I say in general, it's pretty easy, right? So effectively within Accenture, the benefit and the bonus of being within Accenture and being with a consultancy is that it's almost as you almost apply for roles that you want to working within the company, it's almost like its own mini recruitment internally. So we have a system where we have the roles and new demands that we're trying to fill. So it's almost like a list of jobs that you can look at the descriptions, see what the client is, see what kind of expectations are in terms of your skills and your experience for that particular role, and then you apply for those roles. So although I sit within technology, and then within technology we have our own specific groups based on skill sets. So I sit within what they call delivery excellence, which is all about kind of where our project managers and delivery leads sit. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I couldn't apply for a test lead role or a deployment lead role. If you have the skill set and you have some expertise in that area, or at least you have the passion to learn on that particular role, and the client thinks that you fit well and the manager thinks you fit well, then you absolutely can apply for those roles. As I said, I've had such varied roles with projects that I've applied for. More recently, I was working on an NHS project, and actually I applied as what we call a release manager. So it's all about how we actually going to manage the process of developments and deploying those into production environments at pace, in an orderly way, and maintain that. But actually, within about a month of joining the client project, we realised that we weren't really ready for those release management type roles yet. And the MD kind of came to me and said, look, we need you to take on this role instead. And it was looking at demand management. So any new requirements that came into the project, they had no process for. There was nothing. And as a result of that, everything had to be delivered at once. And they were like, we need someone to control this, manage this, work with the stakeholders. So I was there then actually switching roles completely. And I've never managed demand before, but I've done delivery. I understand what it is about gathering requirements. I know what's needed to manage and limit scope. So I had the relevant experience to be able to support with that. But again, your managers are there, right? We all one team. So that MD, those managers, and your colleagues will support you in those works. So you can be comfortable in being honest in, I don't have much experience in X, but I can bring these things to this role. And they were like, great, you've got 3 out of the 4 things. I can help you with the other. So I think that's the key thing, is that there are transferable skills within roles. I wouldn't worry too much about the specifics of a role, because you'll learn. And as you progress through your career, even up to MD level, you're not going to know everything. There are MDs that don't know a lot of things, and they've been Accenture for 20 years. You're always going to be learning, and that's the beauty of working for a company like Accenture, really.
I was just going to add to what you were saying, Simone, in terms of, I mean, one of the key, I guess, principles that we kind of live by in Accenture is that your career is your career. There's no one who's necessarily, obviously, if you're coming in as a graduate, you're on a graduate scheme. But generally speaking, you shape your career. So if you say, I want to go and work in this area and experience this type of project or this type of technology, it's about your network and the people that you know within the organization to be able to facilitate that. So it's never just a case of a hard shift left to another project or another technology. often you'll build a relationship with teams in those particular areas that you're interested in. And then over time, you can make that move. And sometimes it's a temporary move. You're there for 6 months, you're there for a year, or sometimes it's a permanent move. So the opportunity to work in different technologies and different parts of our business is always down to the individual, and you shape and plan your career. And using your network, you can effectively create those opportunities that you want to experience.
Thank you so much. On to our final question. I wish we could ask away all day because there's so much to learn, but we'll have one last question. So 3 things that you would do to contribute towards your career growth, or just in general, someone should do to contribute towards their career growth at university outside of internships, work experience, and volunteering.
I can take the first part of this question. I think it's always great to know what you've studied. So, obviously you apply for your degree, you love it, you enjoy it, but it's also developing on the soft skills as well. I think it's things like networking. Not everyone feels comfortable to speak up or to be on camera or to, go up to somebody and ask them a question. So I would say definitely building and developing on your soft skills, knowing what your strengths are as well. Not everyone wants to be the loudest person in the room, but knowing how to get your point across and be heard. So whether that's the case, if you go along to meetup events, something that I did with a friend not too long ago, where she wasn't very confident of being in new surroundings, so she did that alongside myself to give her that confidence. Public speaking, if that's not for you, to build up on that. But really I would say to build up on your soft skills, because that really would help you when you come into any type of new environment, whether it's a graduate program or a new job for the, changing industries completely. I think really building on your soft skills around communication, especially. That's what I'd add for that one.
Another thing I'd like to add is being a technical person has so many meanings and there's so much to it. So I would say trying to understand more about what you want your journey in technology to be. So this would be, for example, getting involved in communities, reading news about technology. This really helped me, and even helps me today in my role of understanding what's out there, because technology is like constantly evolving. There are newsletters out there. There are just communities you can reach out to. There's the Black Girls in Tech. They're having a brunch soon. There are lots of things that once you get into the tech community, you can see it helps you pave your career, and it makes you see more and more of what you'd want to do in technology, because there's so much out there, and just getting exposed to it can really help.
Thank you so much. Handing back over to John.
Oh yeah, thank you. That was really, really, really amazing. Really enjoyed, Donna, you made a point about not being afraid to fail. I think life is like an iterative process. So you fail fast, but you learn and you keep on learning and you keep on going. And sometimes when we fail once, we're like, oh, I'm never doing that again. I'm never touching that again. Whereas with technology, it is all about iterative process. You have to learn by failing and by going again. So that is good. We have run over time a little bit, but Donna, do you want to run through some of our schemes, just so people are aware to how to apply?
Of course,
Yes,
happy
of course.
to.
Thank you.
Okay, so going into what our schemes are. So within technology, we have 4 main programs that we recruit into. So we've got technology architecture, which I believe Zainab actually joined as a graduate onto this scheme as well. So we recruit for that in London and Manchester. And you can come from any degree discipline as long as you have a passion for technology, IT skills, and problem solving, and an interest in the latest tech. As I said, it's evolving all the time. So it's really good if you're up to date, latest technologies. If you're interested in knowing of building the structure of, so the best way to describe actually the following programs would be, imagine building a house. So when it comes to building a house, you need to have an architect, you have your product design, you have your project manager, and you have your person that comes in, does all the skills. So like the carpenter, the plumber, the plasterer. So the person that's the architect builds the scope of what it is you need. They know where things need to be. That's your tech architecture program. Then we go to software engineering. So that's kind of the equivalent of the person that is the skills person. So they are the plumber, they are the plasterer, they are the electrician. So they're the ones that do all the details of what's needed within that program, within that project. So they, so for this program, we ask that you have come from a STEM discipline degree. I recruit for this in London, Manchester, and Newcastle. Again, IT skills and a passion for business technology and a knowledge of coding and software development lifecycle. That's what's needed for software engineering. Then going on to the other part of the house, which is like the project manager, there's someone that can talk to the architect, but can also talk to the person that wants to buy the house. So we go on to the next slide. That'll be our person that does client delivery. So that's the person that's able to talk to the client about, okay, what it is that they want to get done, but it's also that's the face-to-face person. So the client wouldn't necessarily, or the homeowner wouldn't necessarily talk to the carpenter, they won't talk to the electrician or the architect that much. They will talk to their project manager, who is the client person that does client delivery. So for this, we say you can have any degree discipline as long as you have a passion for technology. As in you should be solutions focused and collaborative and action orientated. So really good communicator, really good at building relationships and rapport. Alongside technology, we also have our information security graduate program. So for this, we do ask that you have a STEM degree. And with this is really to make sure that you're, again, if we go into the architecture metaphor, that your house is safe and secure. So this person's there to make sure that, you know, your data is not getting breached, that your systems in place are actually the right ones. And if not, what can be created in place to make sure that you're aware of all risks that are available. And the good thing with this program is that you can come from any kind of STEM background, as long as you have an interest in security. And also, if you haven't necessarily had a degree that's in STEM, but you've done a master's in that area, again, you can apply for this role. So it says here, it's an ability to work outside of your comfort zone with a can-do attitude and a willingness to learn. So with all of these graduate programs, it was always about the willingness to learn and to really propel yourself in your career. But for those of you that are interested also in our placements, if we go to our next slide, we have internships and placements. So we have our consulting summer vacation scheme and also industrial placement. So for those of you that not maybe so much in terms of the technical side, you're more interested in getting into our strategy and consulting part of the business, this is open for you. So this is based in London, and we ask that you're in your penultimate year of study. We don't have any degree requirements for this, so that's actually open to all. And we do ask that you're open-minded and you have a collaborative mindset. So you'll see there's a theme here. We want everyone to be open-minded, as we are here at Accenture in general anyway. Make sure that you have great communication, you have great project management skills, and you're developing them to be part of these placements. Then we also have our technology industrial placements, which go more into our technology graduate roles that I just spoke about. So again, we ask that you're in penultimate year of study. Again, no degree requirements for this needed at the moment. And we ask that if you're going to go into the software engineering side, that you do have knowledge of coding and software development lifecycle. Whereas client delivery is that you have an idea and a passion for technology, maybe not as technical, but you still really want to build on your communication and you really like talking to clients about what their solution should be. I think we might have one more slide for this one for the schemes. That might be it. I do believe that may be the last one, but we do also have apprenticeships as well. So if anyone's interested in those, I'm sure Charlene will share them on the website as well in terms of our careers page and all our roles that will be open come September, October. But we do insight days and things like that as well. So if you follow our our careers page, you'll be able to get alerts of when those are taking place. And I think that's it from me.
Thank you very much. Yeah, there was a question about Insight Days, so yeah, so you have to check our page and you will see. That is actually coming to the end of our of this event. But before we go, I just wanted to do a shout out to the Rising Star Awards, which is happening tomorrow. I know Charlene sent some winners. I don't know if they're on the call, but who will be rewarded. So I wanted to give a brief shout out to some of the winners. One being Annie, who is a robotics engineer, STEM communicator, tech speaker, content creator, the founder of Anime and Chill. I went to this event actually before the lockdown happened. This was the last event I went to and it was good. So shout out to her. And one other person, shout out to Sue. Sue is an award-winning community manager, coder, tech writer, and event MC. So shout out to them for winning an award, which is tomorrow. Well done. And thank you for attending. This was a great event. I learned quite a bit. Rahima, I'm going to be asking you some questions about your career journey after this. Also, if you want to reach out to any of these individuals, can you please, if you do send a LinkedIn message, please just send a message instead of just clicking connect as well. But yeah, thank you guys for joining, and yeah, enjoy your Wednesday evening, and peace. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks
for coming on
everybody.
and sharing such fantastic insights. I've seen loads of people saying thank you in the chat, which, you know, always is really valuable, really, really important information that you've shared with a lot of people. So thank you very much for all of your time. To everybody on the panel, to everybody who spoke, but also everybody who was able to attend as well. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your evening, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.